Welcome to the Good Dudes Podcast with Aaron James and Logan Bean.
Where each week we're going to talk through the ins and outs of everyday life through a Christian perspective.
So let's do it.
Mr. Aaron James, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
I am great. I'm too blessed to be stressed, even though I'm stressed still a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely feel the stress. It's that season. We're getting into that time of year that...
Tis the season, indeed.
So here's my question. I told you, before we talked about this before. We always kind of talk about where we're going with the episode. And I told him I have a question for him, but I wasn't going to tell him what the question is.
I love it. Kind of.
So here's my question. Is it too early to start playing Christmas music and put up Christmas decorations? Is it too early for Christmas? We're about to make a lot of fans or a lot of haters really quick.
Today, if we were to do it today, would it be too early?
Yeah.
It's November 3rd.
Yeah, we're a couple days after Halloween, a week after Halloween. Is it too early?
I say yes. I think it's too early. Because I'm a big fall dude, and I like pumpkins and leaves.
We're still 50-something days from Christmas.
Yes.
That's a long time.
We just got through Halloween. Yeah. And growing up, we always put the Christmas tree up, after we got done with our Thanksgiving stuff with our family. Yeah. That's just, it's just right. Because Thanksgiving, we can't just pass through that because that's the best food ever.
For sure.
So it's too early.
I agree.
I think.
I've had people, although we've been playing Christmas music in the church lobby now for 3 days, because I had more than one people ask, more than one person, more than one people ask. And so I was like, whatever, I'm already, though, I can't do this for 50-something more days. So they'll get it this week. They'll get their fill this week, and then next week we'll go back to our regularly scheduled program. But... yeah, I can't do it yet.
No, it's too early.
Now, the other side of it, though, is because of, filming stuff for Christmas, I've got to start thinking about, to me, November's a wash. To me, I'm already mentally past Thanksgiving. Because everything between now and Thanksgiving is, I've already done. Yeah. I'm over, Because I'm fixing to be on vacation. And then it's Thanksgiving, and it's okay, we're already here.
Yeah.
It's way too fast.
Yeah. Yeah, because we've already got the Christmas services, planned out and everything like that at the church. Yeah. And so, mentally, we're already...
this year's over with.
Yeah.
And that's so weird, because I remember being a kid and being you get to this time of year and you're oh, Christmas vacation's coming up and Christmas and just it's all this hype and things. Yeah. And now it's it's over for me.
Yeah.
And we're not even there yet. It's over for me.
Yeah.
I'm I don't even... yeah. It's hard to... But this year will be different, though, because of how we're doing things. I think it will be different because I'll get to enjoy it more because I won't be worried about having to film and get things out at certain times. Mm-hmm. We're filming so far in advance that... it won't make a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I love, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
That we get the chance to do it. We decided this early that we can do these things. So, well, cool. So no Christmas music yet. If you're playing it, stop. You've got plenty of time. If you've already got your Christmas tree up, tell us why. And tell us if you did a themed Christmas tree or not. Because there's one in my neighborhood on the way out that is in their front window or whatever, and you get there, it's already been lit up for a couple days. I'm wow, y'all are insane.
That's just
a little excessive.
It is.
But don't get me wrong, I love having a Christmas tree up. I really do, and I love having Christmas lights up. But it's still a hair early
because it's not if I were to put it up, I wouldn't get the same thrill out of it.
Around Christmas? Yeah. It just comes normal.
I feel even if I were to do the Christmas tree, I still wouldn't get in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Yet.
Although, weather here in Fort Smith took a turn this week.
And it's
big time. Okay, well, I sat outside last night and was it smells like it could be Christmas Day. It's that dry, cold smell. And I'm man. Yeah. Or I guess white cold smell, but yeah. So today, our topic is, big roll drum roll, relationships. This has been a requested episode. Our only requested episode thus far. So if you have an idea for an episode, let us know, because we may just do it. We may surprise you and do it.
There's not a big line right now.
And I think this is funny because the one person that requested it is just because she's nosy and she wants to know things that we're not going to tell her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and she's behind. That's my favorite thing about it is like your whole relationship that we'll get into.
Yeah.
She thought she knew everything about.
Yeah, she thought she
was so far behind.
Yeah,
and it was just like, it made it even better.
It made it even better.
So much better. So we've talked about before, both of us are in relationships at this point. I've been in a relationship for over 4 years now. It'll be 5 years right the weekend after Thanksgiving. So a long time, you know. And then you've now been in a relationship for
a little over a month.
Just over a month.
Yeah.
So still new. So we can give two very different sides of the coin.
Yeah.
I think for where we're at right now. But I also think kind of the start of both our relationships are very similar though. Because neither of us knew them before.
Yeah.
And it was kind of pretty quick to start.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was.
I guess let's talk about like the start of a relationship, and so the start of both of ours. So for me, like I met Darcy at school, and I got her number because I was the president of a club, and she was looking at joining the club, and I was like, "Hey, if you need help signing on and logging in, hit me up."
Yeah. And
really, it was just a terrible excuse to get her number, of course. But I got it, so win for me.
It worked out, obviously.
Now the problem was, I'm a twin. If in case I'm letting the cat out of the bag here, I'm a twin who looks, identical.
Very, very identical.
We're gonna have them on at some point. We may do a twin episode. So
and you might not even know.
You might not know which one is which. It could be pretty interesting. But anyway, so. My brother's now wife, at the time girlfriend, also went to UFAS with Darcy and I. And so a lot of people knew who she was and knew that Brett and her were dating. And so several people just from Instagram and social media and all that, or seeing them like walk around campus or things, thought that I was dating Jenny. Which makes sense. You can't blame them.
Right.
Like, if somebody looks the exact same, even as a twin, I don't go, maybe that guy has a twin.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, that guy's dating
exactly.
her,
And especially because y'all look so much alike.
Yeah. Yeah. And so some of her friends, of Darcy's friends, were like, don't date this guy. He's cheating on another girl with you. Like, you're the side piece or whatever. And like people would get mad at me. And I had people come to me and be like, hey, I think what you're doing is wrong. You need to knock it off. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I didn't think about it. Because when I went to college, my brother was at Tech, an hour away. We weren't twins. For 4 years, we weren't twins. Because I didn't have to think about it. Nobody really knew him unless they had known me beforehand. So they either knew I was a twin or they had no idea he existed.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't think about it. Well, it got to the point where like people were like yelling at me in the hallway. Like, I cannot believe you're such a terrible person.
You are a bad man, Aaron James.
Yeah. And so it took a while, a long time for people to like realize what was going on. It was crazy. And then there were some other things with it that like, I'm very opinionated at times about certain things. And there are certain people that I just, certain people that do certain things that I have a problem with at times.
Yeah.
And I was very vocal about having a problem with it. And that made me into a bad person, I guess. Even though hindsight being 20/20, I was right. But, in the moment, a lot of people don't want to see that.
Yeah.
They want to see, and it was dumb stuff, like small stuff that really didn't make a difference anyways. But for some reason, I chose that hill to die on. And so a lot of her friends literally told her not to date me. Like a lot of her friends did. And luckily, she stuck it out. So good job, babe. Thanks. Go you. Yay. But yeah, so it was kind of a rocky start. But once everybody kind of figured it out, and once everybody was like, got to know me and realized I wasn't my brother dating another girl, everybody was like, oh yeah, we're fine, cool. Then it was like such a quick flip that it was like, 2 weeks ago, y'all literally stood in the hallway and said that you hated my guts. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden we're hanging out and going out to eat. All of us are like, okay, whatever, and and I was older than all of them. I mean, I'm a year and a half older than Darcy is. And so, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Just the mindset, between college and being out of college is so different. But yeah, so tell me about the start of your relationship, because I think this is such a fun story. Like, to me, I just think it's funny. It
is a funny story. It's very funny. Do you want me to go like whole thing?
Yeah, let's do whole thing.
Okay.
Because it's interesting.
It is. It's very interesting.
Because what happened with you doesn't normally happen.
No.
Normally you get this first conversation, but then nothing ever comes of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so I was approached by somebody that we work with, and she was like, hey, so are you single? And there's no telling what's going to come after that.
Yeah.
Once you get asked that
it's usually
question.
not good.
Yeah.
Being a male that works at a church that's not married, this happens regularly.
Yeah.
And especially people know that you're single, it happens a lot.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, who's asking? Because you don't be like, yeah, because then, like you said, there's no telling what you're gonna get. But I mean, at the time, I was kind of talking to this one girl, but it wasn't going so great. It was just one of those things. And so I was like, I'm not really anything right now. I said, why? And she's like, oh, well, there's this couple that goes to the church, and they have a niece coming into town for the nursing program, and so I was just like, I'm trying to work through this thing with this girl, and so I was just like, I'm just not going to mess with it right now. And so I didn't give it a lot of thought, and it just kind of stopped there.
It's just one of those things, we hear it a lot. We get it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You just don't do anything with it, because
most of the time, it's not going to work out anyways.
Exactly.
It's just, somebody trying to play matchmaker.
Exactly. And so I just kind of left it there, washed my hands of it. And not long after that thing with that other girl, I stopped things just because it wasn't good. And so I was kind of discouraged by it, actually, because I was just like, I don't know what's...
It's hard. It's hard when you pour time into things, like pour time into a relationship like that, and then go, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And then because we both second guess ourselves so much on things. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing, mm-hmm. but yeah, I get you.
And there wasn't. I mean, it's not like it was super bad or that girl was a bad person.
It just wasn't going to work out.
It was just, and I was trying to find the line between like, okay, maybe like, I know there's stuff that I'll have to look past, and there's stuff that I'll have to deal with, and it may not be just like the greatest thing at first, between that and, okay, no, this isn't right. Yeah. And this isn't what I'm supposed to be in. And so finally decided that it's just best to be done with that. And maybe a month later, mm-hmm. So when I get done with worship on Sundays, Aaron's back there at the back of the sanctuary where we have the like the cameras and everything for all the streaming and everything, and so I go and sit back there with him, and I'm sitting back there, and I'm just looking around the congregation, and I see this girl. I'm like, bro, who is that? I was like, is that the girl that Emily was talking about that one time? Because up until then, like, it was gone.
All we had seen is a picture.
Yeah.
Like one picture.
Yeah, one picture, and it was kind of an older one. Yeah. And, I just, I pushed that out of my mind. I didn't think about it after that time when she asked me. And so, like, right then I was like, oh my gosh, is that one girl? And so, find out that it was her. And so it was that Sunday, and then the next Wednesday we are about to run tracks,
as we always do,
and we're waiting on Matt. And so Aaron's up in the sound booth, and I'm laying like on my stomach on the front pew. I got like my feet up in the air, and I'm looking at my phone. It's on the ground, and I hear, "Hey guys, what's up?" And it's Emily. It's Emily. Okay. And it's Emily and...
No, we're going to call her out.
Okay.
It's Emily.
It's Emily and Madeline, which is the niece.
Yeah.
And also I didn't mention when Emily told me, she was like, "Yeah, this couple, so-and-so, they have a niece coming." I had no idea who this couple was. I hadn't met them. I hadn't seen them. If I did,
sure,
I didn't know it.
Yeah.
And so,
which again is another like oddity.
Yes.
Not saying that we're like celebrities or anything.
Right.
But especially you more than me, like we still, a lot of people know us, but we don't know them.
Yeah.
Because like they see you on Sunday standing on stage, or they hear my name like in a video or do something or whatever, or see me running stuff, but they don't, it's a whole celebrity thing. Like if you watch somebody, like you feel like you know them really well,
right,
and you have this like friendship with them, whatever. But in reality, like we have no idea who you are.
Yeah, and there's just no telling, because especially they have a niece coming in who doesn't live around here for nursing school. I'm just like, there's no telling, what this girl is going to be like.
Yes, than for.
Yes, the odds are not.
Yeah, they're not
our favor in that,
yeah.
And so I didn't even know the aunt and uncle. But anyway, so I'm laying there looking at my phone, and I hear, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And I see Emily and I see Madeline walking in with her. I'm just like, oh shoot. And
now also, normally on Wednesdays when we run tracks, it's not like this. Normally we get in there, we get them done, we get out.
Yeah.
We just happen to be waiting on someone else to finish a meeting. And so, like, I had music cranked up in there.
Yeah.
Like, it was loud. And he was laying down on the floor. And we're just hanging out, basically, in there.
Yeah.
And so, it was totally caught us off guard.
Yeah.
And, like, we were not prepared at all for this.
Yeah. And this is, like I said, I saw her that Sunday, and that was it. And then the next time I saw her was her then walking in. And so, I'm just like, oh, my gosh, that's, it's that girl. And they start walking closer, and... I got up there and I saw her, and I was like, oh. I told Aaron right after this, I said, I saw her, and I was like, I'm not even worried anymore. Like, this girl's so out of my league. Like, I'm not even. I don't think I have a chance.
No shot.
You're and so I don't even like. I'm not trying to make myself look cool or anything like that. Just because. Oh, I'm not worried about it anymore. And so we sat there and we talked for a little bit and kind of got to know her, which was cool. And then she shows up that Wednesday night, which was cool, and it was helping out with the youth and everything. And
she got involved.
She did.
She got involved right away, very quickly, and she just like. Kudos to her. Kudos to Madeline for jumping in as fast as she did.
Yeah.
Because again, like, there's no reason she should have. No. And again, we also don't know. Like, I'd love to hear her side of things. Because I don't know how much like her aunt and uncle told her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or how much she had seen of you, or things like that. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she's not from here, and so She doesn't live on campus. She doesn't have any. At the time, she didn't have any friends. All she had was her aunt and uncle. And for her to like jump into something like that is pretty bold. It's really cool. So we all went and ate Chili's that night, and we got to know her and stuff like that. And
again, went to eat with people who she had no idea. Literally had met 6 hours earlier.
Yeah.
And just like basically hung out with us for. I mean, the whole 6 hours. I mean, for the most of it, like, it was a lot of time that she just hung around. Yeah. So, kudos to her for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're pretty cool, but we're not like the coolest people.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
maybe around.
Yeah, we are for sure. Our group is super fun, right?
It is. Oh, we laugh.
Our group, yeah.
We
our group laughs for sure. But it was also like, you know, I think it's funny because you and her are both kind of shy in a sense, and I am too, but in certain situations I can, you know, make people laugh, I guess, or like kind of start. I'm good at starting the conversation. Yeah. Now my favorite was the next week when. So at that one, it basically was 4 of us that went, and it was you and I and Rebecca and Madeline. Yeah. The next week, Rebecca couldn't go, so it was just me, you, and Madeline. Well, at this time, like, we had basically established that you had feelings for her, so it was obvious that I was third wheeling at this point.
Yeah.
To me, he wants to say no, but
well, listen. So, okay. So just because of how things have gone with girls in the past, I've learned that. It's good to build a relationship first, friendship.
Sure. Yeah.
Get to know the person.
Absolutely.
Like, because I don't want to just like
you don't want to
start having these feelings and then like make moves based off those feelings. Because I don't know. I just think something like that's supposed to take time. And
I don't want to build something up in my head and make someone that they're not and hold them to a standard that they're not.
Exactly.
I think that's super important.
Yeah, and I mean, don't want to get your hopes up either.
Yeah.
And especially with her, because I'm like she's like fresh. She doesn't know anybody here. The last thing she needs, like if she's getting involved in a church, which is awesome. Yeah. The last thing she needs is any pressure from anyone else or me to make things awkward or anything. Sure. And so even though I had
Darcy come play drums before we started dating. I was just like, hey, I like you a whole lot. Will you come play drums at my church? She did. I mean, it's super awkward out the gate, and she still came. So again,
well, I mean it's a risk, but it pays off sometimes.
It pays off. Yeah.
And 4 years later, it's still paying off.
But anyways, my description of that night was that they would be talking or we would be having a conversation, and I would just take the description is a little cup of gas and throw it on the fire, just to let it come up a little bit, and then the conversation would they would carry the conversation, and then it would kind of die down, and then I'd throw another little cup of gas in the fire, and their conversation would glow, and I'd be sitting there like staring at the wall, like watching the game. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry, the conversation died here. And that was basically how the night went.
It was, and like you said, we're both just like shy people, and I, being like, no, like she's hanging out with us, like I don't want to be too, I don't want to flirt, forward. I don't want to do anything like that, and so I was more reserved, and she's reserved as it is, and so I'm very thankful that you were there to throw the gas on the fire. But I mean, after that, it just kind of took off. I messaged her.
Slid to the DMs, baby.
Yeah, I did. I slid right in there, and but it just kind of went from there. And we met after that. We went to the dog park, and just a lot of our stuff that we've gone through has lined up. A lot of the lessons that the Lord has taught us. We shared a lot of that, which is really cool. And so there's that connection. And this whole time I'm like, Lord, don't let me jump to conclusions. Don't let me rush this thing. Yeah. But it really felt like the Lord was pulling me, Yeah. And so I mean, from the outside looking in, like it was fast.
Sure.
But it's just one of those things that we both felt confident and comfortable that that's where things were going. And so
my favorite is that she was like, stop dragging this out.
Yeah, pretty much.
She didn't tell you. I think that's good.
Well, I mean, think about it.
But it's good because you don't get that often.
Right.
Because most of the time the girls will not say that.
Yes.
Most of the time it's like, I don't want to like rush this or anything. They're more like that. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm the same way you are. It's like, I don't want to push this to be something that it's not. Yeah. Or go too far or anything like that. And so
and like especially like with her not knowing anybody, like I wanted to just be sure that she was 100% comfortable and we're on the same page. Yeah. But no.
So that's it's still so new for you, which I think is good, and y'all are still. But it's also like from the outside looking in, it's gone so fast but so well. Mm-hmm. Like already you can tell like there is the chemistry there, and it's going good. It looks good. I mean, so it's cool to see from the outside.
Yeah.
For me though, like the interesting thing lately is like my girlfriend started college or started her master's degree in Florida this year.
Tallahassee.
In Tallahassee. So she's been there since August, and and I got to go down there recently and see her for the first time since August, just a few weeks ago. And it's like, the good thing about the trip was, as hard as it was, the good thing was that we got there and it was like we hadn't missed a beat. We got there and everything, it was just like I had just left, like we had been apart from a weekend, and it was still, felt the same. Nothing was like super awkward or like nice. We had missed anything. So it was good in that way, and that was reassuring for me because it's been 3-4 months.
Yeah, because because you didn't know what you were about to walk into, just because that was so different for both of y'all, especially that distance. Yeah, and so you didn't
exactly.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, 3 months being apart and not seeing her in person.
After 4 years.
After being together for over 4 years, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, okay, well, what is this? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's crazy.
Gosh, man. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's definitely one of those things. Like, especially building up to it. I'm really bad about building things up in my head, and so like I can sit there and just get anxious and compound things in my head to a point where like they're just gonna be catastrophic. And so for me, a lot of it was like I just didn't know what this was gonna be. Like, am I still gonna be in a relationship in a year? Am I still gonna in 6 months?
Yeah.
What's this actually gonna look like? What's gonna look like on the other side of this? Because college and just time changes people so much that it's like, man, if we're not together, is this going to change too much? Is it going to be, So it's been that's been a struggle for real. Just trying to balance out what does this look like? What is this actually going to look like coming through things? So,
yeah. But
we're hanging in there, and it's it is what it is. Mm-hmm. It's been interesting, because like right now, you get to do all the things for the first time, and you get to go on the dates, and you get to go experience things together for the first time, and a lot of stuff that Darcy and I have experienced already, but you get to just do things together, and we don't get to do things together right now. So it's been one of those that for me, I've got to be doing something, whether that's talking, like actually working, editing something, watching something. I've got to be doing something constantly. For me, downtime just isn't good for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how to control it. And so I have all this downtime now because she's not here. Before it was like, oh, I had to force myself to stop because I had to take her out. I wanted to take her out. I wanted to hang out with her, and you know. And so I had that time where like, okay, I'm done. I'm just hanging out with you. Well, now it's like, I can go home and
wait till.
But yeah, there's even that time difference of, she's an hour ahead of me, so she beats me up and not beats me up. That's funny. She's awake before I am.
Do we need to talk about this, Aaron?
I know. Well, we don't talk about it. I have to.
She must be strong.
She is. She's a drummer, man. Like, she will beat the mess out of you. Like, all those mallets she has, dude. Like, some of them are scary looking. Like, it's crazy. And she has so many of them that's just like, she could keep hitting you with stuff and not stop.
I'm keeping you happy.
I mean, yeah, no joke. Break one of those things off and shank you. But no, so it's just different. And it's been one of those learning things. I think it's good, but it also like, it's hard for me not to work 24/7. Because I've got my office here at home that I could come home and start working on stuff from the church, stuff on my own, and not think twice about it, and work till midnight and then just go sleep and wake up the next day, do it again.
Yeah.
And get burnt out real quick. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely the nice thing about having her here versus away.
Yeah.
Is just, she definitely keeps me sane in the fact of, making me stop, making me, hey, I want to go do this with you, or I want you to come to this. So, you have to stop doing other things.
Yeah.
So it's a big shift.
I think that's really good. And I think it's so crucial to have that person that not only is something that you do things with, but somebody that's there that knows you, that can be like, hey, like you said, hey, let's chill out. Let's take some time. And like you said, with her being down there, you don't have that. And so it's like you're trying to reprogram yourself to do you again. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being single again. I honestly don't know. Like, I'd figure it out, but I mean, I've joked before that if Darcy ever did break up with me, I'm just going to sell everything and buy one of those, like, Revel vans.
Oh, yeah.
And live out of that and go travel. And just live out of that. Park it at the church.
I'll come with you, dude. Up. Take the podcast on the road.
Yeah, man. That'd be funny.
It's not going to happen, though.
It won't happen.
It's not going to happen.
It won't. It'll be good. But yeah, so... Yeah, for you just to get to experience all those new things those first times, getting to do a lot of firsts, that's cool.
And it's been super cool too because, like I said, thinking the next like real relationship that I'd get in would be establishing that friendship over time. Getting to know each other that way. But it's kind of been a shotgun blast, but I haven't really I had to really think about it because before, like when I was single, I was like, okay, thinking about the first parts of a relationship, we're going to do this. How is this going to go? Yeah. And I haven't really had to think about it.
You have checkpoints normally.
Exactly. But it's just been happening and it's been good. Yeah. And it's how it is. And I sit back and I think I'm like this has been crazy because I've been thinking about it. And now that it's happened, like those thoughts that I had, they're gone. Yeah. And it's just been really cool. And it's the same way for both of us. I mean, many times like I'll stop and ask her. I'm like, hey, like this is how I'm feeling about things. How? And she's like, no, it's the same way. Like this isn't. We both agreed that this kind of came out of nowhere and it hasn't gone how we expected it to go in a good way. Yeah. But it's been super cool being on the same page about things and being open. We've been open with each other from the beginning. And that helps out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, I'm just thinking about like all the things that happen when you first start dating or even like talking to somebody and just all the time and things that, you've got to do and whatever. And yeah, it's just crazy. And then I think back of like how many times you've done the same thing. You know what I mean? Like all the past relationships that you've had or that you have that, you kind of go through the same motions and all of a sudden it's different. And you're like, okay, why is this one so different? Because it was the same way with Darcy and I. Like it was just so different from anything else that I had done before, any other relationship I'd ever been in. Which I'm not like, I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm a huge relationship guy. I mean, I haven't ever really like dated that many girls before. Yeah, me either. Especially not seriously, There were a couple, but not
like nothing serious. The few that I've had that kind of went in depth with. Looking back on them, like I can see that it's just been a big learning experience.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
At the time, it was crazy and weird, and I thought I was on top of things, but looking back on it, it's just lessons learned. Yeah. Which I think has led me to having the thoughts beforehand with Madeline.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's, it's helped a lot is because before when I would just like try to do things on the fly or let things just ride out, being able to think ahead of those things and being open with her and being on the same page before we get there, it's just been a night and day difference. And it's been super awesome. And it's been different. And I don't know if it's, maybe because of knowing these things through learning them the hard way. But even like the things that I would get upset about in past relationships early on, especially with the insecurities and stuff, like I'll be honest, I'm bad with insecurities.
Sure.
but just the way that I think about them with her, it's been different. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to explain. Just difference, the word I'd use for it.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get it. I mean, I'm a lot the same way. Yeah, I think about, most of my past relationships ended up being, hey, we should have just been friends the whole time. And like, I think like my most recent ex, which, I mean, we're talking now 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with her. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that, like, I mean, I talk to her, not often, but every now and then, and because we're still in kind of the same spheres, but especially in college, like when we dated, we had all the same classes. Yeah. And I was like, when I knew it was coming to an end, I was like, this is going to be rough, because we've got literally every single class was the exact same for all 4 years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but hey, it's over,
We're here, yeah.
And so, but it was good because I think we both realized that, and we were both mature enough to say, hey, we still have to have each other in our lives. It's going to look different. It's going to be weird for a little bit just because of how close we were. But I think it still turned out fine, and it turned out well. And, she's now married, and her husband's awesome. I love him, and we've all hung out before, and it's fine. Mm-hmm. But it's just odd getting to know someone to that level and then ending it. You know what I mean? And especially like for us, like being able to stay friends, like that was good. But I think of all the past times I've been, even just in the talking phase or whatever, that it's like you get to know someone so well, and then it either doesn't happen. And I feel like anytime that it doesn't happen, that person has just kind of like faded away out of my life. And it's like, oh, okay, well there's so much distance. Like, okay, obviously that wasn't going to work. Yeah. I think it's just, not weird, but just, it's hard. It's hard for me to let go. Yeah. Because I'm just like, I know so much about you now, that it's like, I don't want to. Yeah. Even though when it's obvious that, nothing's going to happen here, And I've always, said and been a big component of like, if you're not dating somebody that you think you're going to marry, then you shouldn't be dating them. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, what's the goal here?
Yeah. And if there's not an end goal, then what's... Yeah, in my mind, you're just wasting time. Yeah. You're wasting that person's time, and you're honestly wasting that person's future spouse's time. Yep. And that right there is what I always hate more than anything. Mm-hmm. Is I've always had in the back of my mind just that thought of, am I wasting someone else's time that I don't even know who it is?
That's man. A lot of people don't think that.
No.
That doesn't cross a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, I don't think it does, but it's a hard thought to have. Mm-hmm.
It puts everything in a completely different perspective.
Yeah, and I that's how I felt about the last relationship that I was in. Once I became friends with him, when they were getting together, like he had been around, I just didn't like really know about it or didn't pay much attention to it. And I was like, oh, I was wasting your time. I'm very sorry that I was wasting your time. Wow. Like, yeah, it's weird. But I mean, she asked me to do her wedding photos, and I was like, I don't think so. Like, I know we're close, and I know it's been a long time and all, but I don't think that's the best time. Because I also was like, I don't think your mom has seen me. I know she hadn't talked to me since then. And that's a whole other thing, bringing parents in. Oh, my gosh. Like, getting to that phase. Yeah. Oh, meeting the parents is always my least favorite thing. I would dread it so much. And luckily, Darcy knew that, so she did it very well. It was like dinner before a concert, so we had to be gone at a certain time.
Yeah. That's good.
So there was a definite start time and a definite end time.
That's good.
Of when we had. So it was only a little while. So that first encounter was like there and gone. That was very good. Yeah. Very set thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Go ahead.
We don't have to get into yours because I know it's very different.
Yeah.
And
I just think it's funny because you've met them before I have.
Oh, that's very true. Sorry. Yeah, I have met Madeline's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Odd. Again.
Yeah.
When you meet new people, like, we all became friends very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just got the chance to meet him before you. I mean, it's something. But I also had to almost defend you to them, which was super fun too. You know, because it's like, that's their little girl. Yeah. And they asked, you know, within reason.
Which is good. Yeah.
And they did it in a fun way. It wasn't like an interrogating way or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they were because I'm in more of a professional realm. Like, I went to do work for them, videography work for them. So it wasn't like I met them at Walmart or something, you know. It was, I went and stayed at their place, you know, and, but they didn't bring it up until it was like a real relaxed situation. But yeah, the way that they brought it up though, like, was super funny because there was another family that was there the way they thought it brought it up, it really sounded like it was me in your place. Yeah. And I was like, I don't take things for another guy. Like, sorry. Like, I am not, you know, eating a bullet for somebody else.
No comment.
Even you, Like, I'm sorry. That's one thing I won't do.
Yep. I'm not here for this.
But I was like, I go, obviously, he's my worship leader, and he's, you know, obviously on the podcast with me, and, you know, one of my closest friends. It's like, obviously, I think he's a good guy. Otherwise, I wouldn't, like, be doing all these different things with him.
Right.
Like,
right.
But it was funny. It was good. And I think it'll be fine. Yeah. Like, me knowing them now, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be great once you do. It's just, you know, they're in a different city. They're ways away. Like, it's hard to.
And like you, just meeting parents in general is just nerve wracking.
Yeah. Which, I mean, mine are similar. Like, Darcy's family's from Waldron, you know, about an hour away. And, like, they had to come to Fort Smith for the concert, and so luckily it was like they had to come here, so it was like basically my home turf, you know. But we met at a restaurant for dinner, and that was it. Yeah, and then we went to the concert. So it wasn't anything like I'd in their house or anything, like going to their house or anything, and until later that was another experience. But I mean, at that point I'd already met them 2 or 3 times before going there. For you, I don't feel like you're gonna get that. That pleasure.
Well, I got to meet her mom when we went to the wedding thing. Her mom met.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Her with her dog, and so I got to meet her there and talk to her for a second. So that kind of broke the ice a little bit. Yeah, but I wasn't.
But it was quick.
It was quick, and it's not her mom that I'm too worried about. Not that, you know.
Dads are scary. I'm sorry, any dad.
Also, when he's pretty much 7 foot tall, you know.
I mean, I've had dads, you know, pull the whole, like, threaten to shoot you thing before. Yeah. Like, I've had that happen. Yeah. Which was funny because I didn't pick up on that's what he was saying at first. He asked me if I wanted to go hunting, and I was like, yeah. I didn't think anything of it. And they were like, no, it was off a show. Like, Doug Dynasty had just released an episode of, like, meeting Sadie's boyfriend or whatever. And the joke was they were going to take him snake hunting so that they could beat him up in the woods or whatever. And I didn't catch on. He was just like, you want to go hunting? I was like, yeah, sure. So, but yeah, I mean, I've seen it all. But,
dang.
Yeah, it's just funny. So, you ready to do our top 5?
Yeah, dude.
I think we've kind of told enough about us. You know, our idea of relationships. Yeah. But, again, I mean, it's just... So we're in such different stages, but we had such a close beginning story that, you know, that it's just so different from anything else we've ever had. Any other relationship we've ever been in, it's so different. Yeah. Both of ours were. Yeah. So, all right. So our top 5 today is one I came up with this morning before we filmed because I had this thought, I knew this is what we were talking about, and a story crossed my mind from one of my buddies, and I was like, oh, this would be awesome to tell. And I go, what if we did top 5 worst first dates?
Plenty to choose from.
Both mine, my friends. I mean, I've got several of my buddies who have had some doozies. Oh, yeah. That I'm just like, that's hilarious. Yeah, so I'm gonna let you go first. You got the worst first date?
I don't have any that I've had any friends that have happened to or anything that I've gone through, but I've thought about.
I just thought of another one too.
Just different ones. And these aren't in any order.
Yeah, no order on this one for sure.
For the first one, I would say I'm gonna say like the gym. The only time that's acceptable.
The gym.
Yeah, the only time is if y'all are both bodybuilders and like that's what you live and breathe for.
Yeah.
Then sure.
Maybe if you met at the gym.
Sure. And I'm not gonna be one of those guys that's, because I mean, I'm not saying that you have to do the like take her to the most expensive steak dinner.
Yeah.
And do everything. I mean, definitely do things with chivalry and don't be cheap about things. Like show that you care.
Yes.
But don't take her to the gym. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how big your biceps are.
That's not going to end well.
No.
That's not going to end well, I don't think.
You're not.
That's funny. Let me show you how much I can bench press. Check this out.
Yeah.
If that's what she's into, maybe then go. But like I definitely couldn't do that. No. That wouldn't be like, you want to go to the gym of all places?
You want to spot me while I bench these 35 pounders?
Well, I push the bar up. Thanks. Oh gosh. Okay, so mine, the first one I'm gonna say is one that happened. This legitimately happened to one of my friends.
Okay.
And so he lived in Fayetteville, and he was like, had been talking to this girl, and he was like, "Hey, let's go to the baseball game, Arkansas baseball game."
Okay.
She knew nothing about baseball. So that's what I'm saying is the worst first date idea is to go to a baseball game when they know nothing about baseball.
Yeah.
So they get up, they sit there through the game. He's like, we had good conversation the whole time.
Yeah.
Everything's going great. 7th inning stretch comes around. And they stand up, and she thought it was time to go. She didn't know. Yeah. So she stands up and starts walking out. And he was like, "Hey, where are you going?" And she was like, "Oh, I thought it was time to go." And he goes, "No, we still got a couple more innings left." And she goes, "Oh, we've already been here for like 3 hours or a couple hours or whatever." And he was like, "But there's still a couple innings left." Like he was really into baseball.
Yeah. And
he was like, "I want to watch the end of the game. It's just now getting good." Like,
oh man, that's tough. So, yeah, because like, what do you do?
What do you do? Do you leave?
Do you make her stay?
He made her stay
when obviously she doesn't want to.
He drove and he made her stay. And that's where I was like, yeah, I probably would have just left.
Yeah.
I'd probably been like, oh yeah, let's go get something to eat or done something else.
Yeah, bite the bullet and feel like, okay, you know what? Whatever makes you happy.
He made her stay.
That's dedication.
So funny.
That's dedication.
But yeah, so that's what I'm saying is worst.
That's good. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I probably would have left.
Yeah, for sure. I could have done it.
I love baseball and everything.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so my next one. Don't bring her to any kind of family gathering.
That's good. It's good.
No holiday, no birthdays. That's too much.
Yep.
That's too much. You're not going to get time with each other.
Yep.
Can't be good conversation. Yep. And like we talked about, meeting the family is a huge deal. And so that's just a lot. So don't, like, I get it. Oh, yeah, it's so exciting. Meet my family.
Meet the whole family and everything. For a first date, that is a hard first date.
Put yourself in her shoes, bro.
Yeah, would you go to someone else's?
No.
Not a chance. Nope. All of a sudden, great Aunt Betty had a heart attack, and I gotta go see her in the hospital.
Yeah, and don't go to the gym after.
Don't go to the gym after. So mine, second one that I've got is yet another story that happened to someone that we both know. But, Fort Smith to Fayetteville, to go to Fayetteville for a date is not an uncommon thing. And I don't remember if it was a first date, but it was in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so this guy gets in his car and picks her up, and then we're going to go to Fayetteville, like to go to Pinnacle Hills or whatever, go shopping or whatever it was. And they get in the car and they start driving. Well, if you know anything, to go to Fayetteville, there's a point where there is no more gas stations.
Oh, yeah. There's a big stretch.
He missed the last one.
No.
And ran his car completely out of gas to the point that it died on the side of the interstate on the way to Fayetteville.
That's honestly...
And they had to sit there and wait on AAA to bring him gas.
That is...
So that he can get to the next gas station.
That's so discouraging.
Oh, it would suck so bad.
I'd
like, hey, well, at least we got time to talk now. And I think they were on a time crunch to where they had to get back. So I don't even know if they ever like made it to Fayetteville to do anything. They may have just had to turn right back around.
I would feel so humiliated. I'd be like, let's just try this again another day. Like, I
don't think this is gonna work.
Especially being a guy, like you want to be on top of things and you want to show that you're
competent.
I've ran out of gas before, but being on a date, that's a different
that's a
ball
whole
game.
other level of oh crap, But that's funny. Yeah. I've always loved that story.
I want to know who that is after.
Oh, I will definitely tell you who that is. And as soon as I tell you, it will not be a surprise. He knows who it is. I promise you he listens to this. And I promise you he will know that I'm talking about him.
Okay. Okay. So, let's see. Which one do I want to say next? Now, so when me and Madeline's first date, we went to eat, and then we really just like the conversation just took off, and so we just drove around a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so because she's not from around here, I took her to Alma, where I'm from. Now there's that, and then there's on the other hand that I have heard of, taking her around and bragging about your old stories. And taking her out on the football field, or I scored a touchdown right here.
That's so funny.
Don't do that. You may think that's going to boost you up. I promise you, it's not. It's unless she's still in high school, but that's a red flag in itself.
First date. Yeah. Let them come out slow. Don't be like, "This is where I grew up. This is it." Yeah. I went down this mud hole one time, pulled the truck out. Don't do it. That's good. Yeah.
Don't make it about you.
I just got a text from somebody saying we need a Thanksgiving playlist. What? There's the Ben Rector Thanksgiving song, but what else?
Just every song that says thankful.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. I'm sorry, people. This is my life. Hey, I know there's great music playing in the hallways right now, but can you change it? It's too loud. It's too soft. I can't hear it. I don't like that song. That song's kind of odd. Let's not play that song. Let's do this song. Let's not do that song.
Yeah.
All day.
Just play songs about Jesus.
So my third is kind of one that you kind of said, but it's a little bit worse. A funeral.
Oh.
Don't take a girl to a funeral for a first date.
Oh.
Or a first outing together. Like, that's not...
Please don't. Please don't. There is not an instance where that could turn out at least okay.
Good. No.
In any regard.
I mean, I guess you'd meet all the family, but that'd be so weird. Like, hey, let's go on our first date. I'm going to cry on your shoulder.
I'm going to mourn. You're going to see the absolute worst side of me.
And everyone else that's there. Yeah. Like, no one's going to be in a great mood. Yeah. Welcome.
You probably don't know anybody here.
Yeah.
But.
Gosh.
Yeah, don't do that.
What else you got?
Okay. I'm going to say movies are good. Movies are fine. But don't take to like a super, super romantic movie. On the first date. Like, well, I mean, if y'all have talked for a while and everything like that, but if you're like, hey, I want to take you out, don't go because then that's just, to me, okay, this is just my opinion. You know, I might be wrong about this, but that's just like too awkward.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go off yours and do a little different.
Okay.
Also, don't take her to like some sappy dog dying movie.
Okay.
I made this mistake. It was not the first date. It was the first movie we ever went and saw together. And it wasn't Darcy. It was the girl before Darcy. I took her to see. She wanted to go see. I think it's called A Dog's Life, where the dog dies. 15 times in the movie. It just keeps coming around, and she keeps crying the whole.
It was her idea, though.
It was her idea to go.
Okay, that's good.
And she had seen the preview, and I was like, "This is a terrible idea." And I told her I thought this was a terrible idea because all she's gonna do is cry the entire time. And what happened? She boohooed the whole time, and we left, and she boohooed even more about the dog dying.
There's no really uphill from there.
15 times. Whoever made that movie knew what they were doing, and was like, "This is gonna make girls cry." Every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because the dog gets a new family and he's all happy and then he dies.
It's like Old Yeller
gets a new family
15 times in a row.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that couldn't be a fun time.
No.
What did you do? I mean,
I just sat there the whole time. I was like, staring at the screen. I was like, this was such a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I did this.
We could be putt-putting right now.
I was like, we could be doing anything else. And I was sitting there going, this cost me like $35 for the two of us to go to the movies. And you're crying through the whole thing. I'm like, and movie theaters, they're never the right temperature and they're always cold. And like, I don't know about Madeline, but almost every girl I've ever dated is always freezing cold all the time.
Always.
And like to the point where it's annoying.
Yeah.
And this girl all the time, like never failed, was freezing cold. I would literally turn the truck on and let it run and get hot, and like would roll down the road with my window cracked and the heater on full blast so that I could at least get some breath of air.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't 100 degrees. But
well, thank goodness nowadays they got the two-sided air things.
Oh, my truck with the seat warmers and the seat cooler, man.
Yeah.
Saves lives, saves relationships for sure.
Anytime.
Thank you, Chevy. Shout out to Chevy.
Yeah. Anytime we take Madeline's car somewhere, like her side, it's on high, and mine's like 68.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Yeah, what's your last one?
So, this one, I'm going to explain it a little bit more. My last one, I'm going to explain it because there's a difference. There's a right way and a wrong way. And I think intention has a lot to do with it. The other day I saw this Facebook post that said, the perfect first date is to go to church together so that way you can worship with each other and see each other praise the Lord. And like,
wrong.
That's not right. That's not what church is about. If you go into a church with that intention to see it, then you're going to miss it. Like, you're missing the whole point of it. And I get it. Like, especially if y'all are both Christians and you both love the Lord. Like, to me, I saw Madeline worship, and that was super awesome. And like, that made me attracted to her even more.
Yeah.
But she didn't know that I saw it, and it's not something that she was trying to do on purpose. But if that's the intent of it, then it's wrong. Like, Jesus isn't a way to
meet people.
Exactly.
Get in a relationship like that. Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's super awesome if he puts it
works
together.
out, great. Yes. Yeah.
But don't go looking for it in a church,
Yeah.
Because,
you don't want to be part of the singles class?
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think Jesus thinks about that? You looking at girls, being in church just
to pick up chicks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you're missing. It ain't gonna work out that way. Well, okay, whatever. But so I'm just gonna say, don't have a first date. Don't take her to a church service.
Yeah. Because all you're gonna do is be like, look how overly spiritual I am.
Yes.
And flip it on you, and it's like, that is absolutely
not good.
Not what that's for.
And like I said, it's different. Like, if you see the way this person is involved in church.
Yes, that's really good.
Yeah.
But to do it one time and just be like, hey, come see how spiritual I am, or I am at church. Because you're gonna be over the top at that one. And everybody around you's gonna be like, what are you doing? Yeah. You've never done this before.
And the post I saw, and I don't know the full context of it, but I'm just saying the post that I saw, it was a video of them, and it was like, this was our first date, and it was a video of them worshiping. I'm like, did you set the phone up? Did you set the camera up to video yourselves?
Yeah.
Like, hold up, what's the point of this, you know?
No joke.
But so that's my 2 cents on it. And so I'm just gonna say, don't.
There you go.
Church shouldn't be a date. It can be something that y'all go to and participate in together. But with the intent of being with that person and enjoying that person, don't let it be church.
Yeah. Okay, so my last one is kind of an obvious one, I would think. But at the same time, like, I've been in this situation, and I just always think it's awkward. But I also think it depends on age. I think if you're in your 20s, you know, and you're going to have your first date or something, it should not be meeting your parents.
No.
On either side. Mm-mm. First date, that is not the time to meet your parents. And I want to say, no, it wasn't technically our first date. Mm-hmm. It was technically our, like, second or third.
Yeah.
It was our first big date.
Okay.
Darcy did come to my house afterwards, and we had a fire. So she said hello to my parents. But it was very, like,
right.
I was like, hey, this is Darcy. We're going outside. And that was it.
Yeah.
You know, not much. But I know she felt like it was, like, meeting the parents for the first time. But, yeah, no. Meeting parents for the first time, that does not need to happen on the first date.
Yeah.
That does nothing but
because your guard is
anxiety.
Completely up. Yeah. And you're not thinking about even really where you're trying to be for her at that point. You're trying to think of, oh, I need to look
good for
my
the parents.
Best.
Yeah. Now, all the parents that are listening to this are probably going, now that's not true. They should. Okay, stop. If they're under 16,
yes,
fully agree.
Yes.
If they're under 16, that kid needs to come and talk to you or come see you or whatever.
Yep.
And they're not driving. You're obviously going to have to be there. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I understand that. And honestly, like, 16 to 18 is kind of that gray period of, like, they've probably gotten to hang out before. So, odds are it's really not. But their first date, yeah, sure, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Yes.
Yeah. And even like
odds are if they're at school, they're hanging out at the football game. You just don't know it.
Right.
Like they've hung out before. Parents, you just don't know about it or don't realize it. Sorry. It's not the first. Yeah. It's not the first time that they're hanging out alone together. And that thing too, I think like what alone together is, like everybody has their own different opinion on it.
Yeah.
But like going to eat or going to a movie or something. Yes, at that point, like you probably should meet them. I don't know.
And like you said, if it's something where you're picking them up and they're there and you're like, hey, I'm so-and-so, nice to meet you, you know.
If it's real quick or something, that's a little different. But like having dinner with the parents for the first time and like it's the first time y'all have ever had dinner together too, you know, that would be awkward.
Yeah, don't do that.
Now I have with a girl one time, we went out to eat. And we had done something before, like some event for school or something, and then went to eat afterwards. And her parents were at the restaurant, and we didn't know until we walked in.
Oh man!
And it was like, hey, how's it going?
Yep.
And then it was just super awkward the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it makes you uncomfortable, you know, because then you're like, oh, I'm being watched by somebody else. And,
yeah, you get nothing out of that.
So there you go. There's our top 5 worst first date ideas, so please don't use these.
Yeah.
If you have a worst first date or a worst date that you've had, leave in the comments. Let us know what you think. Tell us a story. Maybe we'll share it on here. Can do kind of a recap.
Yeah. And like this relationships was our request that we got, and so we'll talk about it.
Open the request. Yeah,
we'll
if you send us something, we will definitely talk about it. Yeah. You know. Because we can come up with ideas, but still, like having someone submit a question that you want us to talk about, like we'd love to talk about.
Yeah, and like he's 4 years in, and I'm a little over a month, so I mean we're just going to talk about where we're at and what we're going through with it now. It's just going to be honest stuff.
Yeah,
so
for sure. So until next time, hope you enjoyed, and leave us a comment below, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. See if you can share it with your friends. Please share this. I mean, it does really help. It really does help if you share this and kind of get some more views, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That would help us out a ton. So until next time, see ya.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Good Dudes Podcast.
To stay up to date with everything going on, follow us on all social media platforms at the Good Dudes Podcast, and we'll see you in the next one.